Yo, I'm DJP Coaching, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a jump up bass that sounds like this. And let me just mention before we start, this is going to be included in the description below, so you can go download that now and then you can get off this video if you really want to, but I'm going to explain how this all works and how you can do it yourself for future reference. So this is what it's going to sound like.
I am ready to unleash.
Right, so this is the thing we're going to be working on today specifically. It's just disgusting. It is disgusting. So let's start from the ground up. Basically, I've got a Serum patch, and it's the first oscillator is an acid waveform, down 2 octaves. The wavetable position is slightly changing with this LFO, and the level is as well. It's also got a bend plus on there on the warp mode, and it's set to about 21%. And the phase and the random is turned all the way down just to help with just keeping everything the same. I don't have to mess about with, there's no randomized sort of different tonalities and stuff like that. I just want it exactly the same every time, and then I can change it how I want to. Following on from that, there is a filter on here. It's on formant 2, just set to oscillator A, because that's the only one we're using here, and LFO 1 is also set to the cutoff as well. We'll just jump over into the matrix here real quick. You can see all LFO 1 is it's connected to the A wavetable position, A volume, and filter cutoff. I've made sure that I've got it on the two-way type of bipolar, I'm guessing. So it basically goes back and forth along the line. If I change this, it would just be like one way, if you get me. And then following on from that, I've got a distortion on here. It's on diode 2. The drive's up to about 80%, and the LFO, basically every time this goes down, it basically brings the distortion in, so it's going wop, 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 and it adds a little bit more of a rhythmic feel to it. It's on off, no pre or post, so it's just affecting the whole thing. And I've got a chorus on here, which really helps sort of polish up the sound a little bit. Low pass filters on about 4700 hertz. Feedback's on 30%. These lot are pretty much kept the same. I think I changed the delay 5 milliseconds and 0 milliseconds, and the rate is 0.08. So let me just mention real quick, without the chorus it's going to sound miles different. It adds a nice room sort of tonality to it without the reverb. And then I've got a little bit of automation here, turning on and off some of the effects. We've got the FX filter wet, which I'm assuming is connected to the... Oh right, no, that's just all the that's all the effects. And then we've got the LFO rate automated, so that I can change that where I need to. Following on, I've got a compressor doing some pretty standard sort of minimal compression. I've got about just under 10 dB on the threshold, minus 10 dB, sorry, on the threshold, and about 2.6/1 ratio. Attack is 2 milliseconds, kept the same, and same with the release, 50 milliseconds, not touched that. So obviously at this point it's sounding like this. Too much bass, and I want to emphasize some of that clicky sort of tonality, so I cut out a lot of bass, pretty much everything, well, everything under about 830 hertz or 840 hertz, and I slowly change that over time. I do a little bit of different slight changes with different effects and the way that it changes. It's sometimes there wasn't the full frequency spectrum that I needed there coming out of the patch, and then I've got a little boost around 2.6 kilohertz here, and it's about 9 dB of a boost, but the Q is quite low, so it's quite a specific area. And like if I turn that off, you can hear what it sounds like. Obviously I've taken the bass out now, but when I put it back on, you'll notice the difference. It just pops out way more, really brings out the nice sort of clicky tonality that I was looking for. And when you're working on a jump up tune, or any tune in general, if you've got a specific area in the frequency band that you're trying to emphasize, or it's not punching through the mix enough, you have to be very careful to make sure that none of the frequencies that you're boosting are being taken up by anything else in the mix. Otherwise it's gonna create more amplitude, and it's gonna end up making it not sound how you want it to. So I was quite careful that there was nothing else really there at the same time as that's playing. And then after that I put a saturator on there with about a drive of about 5.7, and then a dry wet's on about 66%, so it's not fully wet, but it's mostly there. Usually I'd put this on a bus, but sometimes it's nice to just put it on the original track itself, especially if you don't want the dry signal, which in this case I kind of wanted more of a saturated sound than I wanted the original dry signal, if you get me. So I put it on here so that when I put the dry wet up, the dry signal's only about 24%, 34%, so it's not even close to what it was originally. And then I've got a hard drive on there, hard curve, sorry, and I left everything else the same. And generally, I think, apart from this little bit of reverb delay, which comes in, I think, around here. Yeah, so it's just a little bit of it's around the next section of the drop, and I just sort of wanted to change up the sound of it a little bit and add some variation in there, so I put a bit of a delay effect on there to sort of, you know, bring it back or bring it up and away, and then it can come back to being in the center again and right in your face. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. There's not much else to it. It was just a funny thing that I tried to find out online, and I struggled really finding a good tutorial, and I think I found like one that really explained it in the way that I was looking for. And there's plenty of other sounds like this that people you know, work on all the time, but if you don't sit there and practice it, or know someone that knows how to make it, or ask someone like that, then your best bet's YouTube videos, and hopefully you find this one and it helps you. Yeah, I think the last thing I just want to mention is, I said I was going to put the patch into the description below, but I think I'll put the patch and this channel strip instead, because without the channel strip it's sort of not really there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it provides some useful info for you, and if you've got any other suggestions, put them in the comments below, because I'm always ears. And yeah, I'm still doing one-to-one tuition, DJing and music production, specifically for bass music, but I'm working with people that do neo soul and all that sort of jazz. So yeah, I'm always open to talking to you guys, working out where your goals are, what you want to achieve, and we can get started and get booked in and crack on with building up your career as a music producer or as a DJ, and I hope that we can all be successful from it. Much love. Adios.